The video that you're about to catch is from a recent live stream I did covering the topic of why men can't have multiple wives. We dive into polygamy, we dive into red pill, we dive into all those kinds of things. And if you want to check out that full stream replay, click the link in the description to get access to the context behind this clip you're about to watch. And before you continue, allow me to introduce myself. My name is GrapeJuice, and this channel exists to help you and others alike build healthy, happy, whole, and biblical relationships. Comment below your takeaways and enjoy the video.
Does high value say I got to have multiple women because that keeps my value? Or is he high value because of his money, his status, his position, his culture, his color? What makes you say the amount of women that I have determines the high value that I am? Well, what is that? Why do you need multiple women? That would be my question. What's the need for multiple women? What's the need for it?
I think that's a good question. I think, and I'm gonna try to answer that, obviously, from maybe, hopefully, in their perspective. I think how they've explained it, how people have come in the comment section over time and shared, it's just more like what brings them high value isn't necessarily the women or the sex. It's a means, is how they describe it.
A means to,
A means to high value. Yes, a means to this status where they are now considered basically undeniable.
So I know dudes from the hood who have multiple women that definitely wasn't high value. Missing teeth, but they have multiple women and multiple kids, but they weren't high value. So he's saying this is a means, though, to high value. This multiple sex partners, multiple women on your arm. This is a means to see this definition is blown out of the water because there's hood brothers. There's trailer park dudes who got multiple women that they sleep with, but they're not high value. So I think the same issue is going on in, quote, the men who has the status that says he's high value, as so is the man who works at the junkyard, but he's got multiple women too. I think the same issue lives in both of these men, which I find to be very interesting as we're having this conversation. That same issue lives in both of these men. One of them has all the means that he can put you on a jet, fly you to wherever, have sex with you, send you on a little shopping spree, tell you go home. The other dude, he can't do nothing for you except for come over, bring a couple of Miller Lights to your house. Y'all maybe smoke up a few things, he rocked the trailer and then send you back home to both. Both of these people are doing the same thing. So the question to me is, what's happening in that man that says this fulfills me in some way? What's going on with him that he needs to have multiple people in his life like this and he can't just be with one? Is it a party? Is it a way to show masculinity? How many women you could pull? I mean, what is it?
I think it could be a mix of. I think it could be a mix of all of that. I think it definitely has a touch of, and we talk about this, me and you, quite a bit more so. Like, I think this also just has a masking of identity, right? So when we didn't address that first hurt, what we did was we just buried it, and we buried it through all of those activities outwardly that kept us from actually seeing the use of our value. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I think because there's a loss of identity in that space, because we just put our value in that person, we convinced ourselves through social media posts, through retweets and Snapchats, that I'm nothing without her. And this is kind of where you hear the language, don't put her on a pedestal. And if she's on one, knock her down so she's looking back up to you. All this comes from a place where you made the decision to make her out to be superhuman. And so what happened was you encountered her legitimate humanity, and that rocked you. This is why you're against marriage deep down in your heart. Because somewhere, and I'm not going to say that this is something that they're thinking about that far, because we see where a lot of their thinking is coming from. But I don't doubt that there could be some people who think, I'm going to see the real her in marriage and I'm already tied down to that, and then I can't leave. So there's a struggle, man, to commit to that but there's a struggle to see that in themselves because of all of the programming that they've had in their mind up to this point, that they're not the problem. This is the danger in telling people without context that they're not the problem. Because you know what's crazy? You actually might have got rejected because your character's terrible. You just aren't a enjoyable person to be around, not because something is wrong with you as if it's unchangeable. Your character, your integrity, like that stuff's inconsistent. So I don't know if we should expect anything less, which is why we have to deal with the inward instead of the outward. So I think in both men, a mixture of what you said, and I think somewhere along the lines, we decided to put this man decided to put his identity in that person's hands to the point where they did not know what life would look like without him. And when that reality hit, they were almost long gone from a place of being able to have what we would consider an immediate bounce back.
I just looked at Quora and Reddit. Here's what they said. Men need variety. So even if they have a good meal at home, they're looking for a different meal elsewhere. That's consistent. This is consistent or what I'm seeing in these comments here. This is what they need, right? So men need this variety, right? Men sleep around because they don't want to be tied down. Do y'all believe that? The men sleep around because you don't want to be tied down. Let me introduce something here that I think is important for us to consider. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all have ever heard this. I don't know if I can get with her because I haven't slept with her and I got to know if she's good in bed before I can sleep with her. I want y'all to think about this. What if the idea is you're not supposed to know whether it was good or not, and that when you waited to get married in the way that God intended for us to, that what you then would do was have the beautiful opportunity to discover what it means to be with the person that you're with and not be comparing it to all the people you slept with prior? What if you were meant to just simply have this beautiful, monogamous, incredible journey with the person who you are married to, and you have no other outside context of what it means to be in this relationship? A lot of these ideals, y'all, Grape, are coming from people who've gone out there and you had certain things. I cannot tell you how many people that I have sat with over the years who want to leave a woman who's a good woman, want to leave a good woman because this brother has somebody out here do something on his lower regions that his wife's like, hey, that ain't my thing. She's a good woman though. Meals, home, she don't have no problem. You know, with intimacy, none of the other kind of stuff, she might not do this. But because he was with a freaky freak, he's like, man, I feel like I'm missing this. I feel like I'm missing that. You see, his whole ideal of what the marriage bed is supposed to be about, while the scripture says it's undefiled, he's turned it upside down because he had all of these previews, right? Before he got to the main feature. And now, because she don't act freaky or hoe-like, he's like, I'm good. I need something different. What if the ideal is that you're supposed to discover that with the first person that you sleep with, and you all get the beautiful opportunity to explore what that really looks like? What if that's the ideal? What if that's the ideal?